very well, all on good form, and all of them have previously won events, so you didn't lose your confidence at any stage. All the other teams had someone who you were a little nervous about, and I think, can you pick out a team today that has a quartet where they're all on form and all capable of putting in good performances?
I think you could say Germany, because Gross, Fischer and Grice, obviously those three names, they haven't been out of the top 7.
That's only 3
in any of the races. That's what I'm about to come to. Then we've got Alexander Wolf, who we don't know much about recently. He's obviously in good form, but we haven't seen him race yet at the World Championships. He will be a little nervous, this being his first race, and taking the start position for Germany.
Well, Russia, Germany, Norway starting as the favourites today. Halvard Hannevold, the man who's got to lead Norway out of the starting blocks, and that's so often where they stumble and they end up having to fight their way back and relying on Ole Einar Bjorndalen, who will be taking the last leg for the Norwegians. The Russians, Rojkov, Kruglov, Rostovtsev, Chepikov. That looks ominously strong to me, and it's really could come down to the battle between Rojkov and Wolf on the very first leg. The Ukrainians, well, they're wearing bib number 6. They've made a habit of finishing 7th in recent years, 7th in the Olympics, 7th in the World Championships last year. They'll be hoping to improve on that. There's Alexander Wolf, the man who's got, I think,
not that many Austrians, mainly Germans in the spectators.
Germany, Russia, Norway, seeds 1, 2 and 3. The Swedes, who won earlier in the season, could they do it again? It doesn't look likely on current form. The Czech Republic go number 9. Italy have had a dire season so far. They start with bib number 10. Here they are, lined up on the front. The top 10 teams on the first rank, and then the remainder just 2 or 3 meters behind. At the far end of the course, the favourites, Germany wearing bib number 1, Russia 2, Norway 3, Sweden 4, Austria 5. Can they get a victory on home soil? And away they go. The 2005 Biathlon Relay World Championship event, 4 times 7.5 kilometers. The first leg is going to be absolutely frantic, and a brilliant start from the Swedes, going out very fast indeed, with David Ekholm, the man from Östersund, leading the teams out of the stadium.
The Swedes are hoping to medal today, and they want that medal to be gold. And, well, they've started out on a mission, making a statement early on. Pace is slowing down now. Difficult little tight turn here. Settled already, very fast off the starting blocks. First 200 metres frantic. Now it'll settle down. Athletes will try and get forward.
21 teams. Let me just remind you, we've gone through the top teams. Ukraine 6, France 7, Belarus 8. Now the Belarusians always good in the team events, so don't rule them out of a top 3 today. The Czech Republic, Italy and Switzerland 9, 10, 11. Below them Slovakia wearing 12, and their women did exceptionally well, finishing 6th yesterday, so they'll be hoping to improve on that. Pavel Hujat taking the first leg for the Slovaks. Poland, Slovenia, Estonia and Finland from 13 through to 16. Latvia 17. Great Britain, Mike, wearing bib number 18 today. A tough task for their quartet. Mark Walker on the first leg. Japan 19, Kazakhstan 20, and the Canadians down in 21st. No Americans.
No Americans. It's been a very long time, though, Patrick, since we've seen as many as 21 nations, even at the World Championships. Normally we're looking at 18 or 19 teams, so I'm delighted. Kazakhstan, Canada, Japan, Great Britain, Latvia, delighted to see more and more teams on the start line.
But why no Americans? Where are they? They've got 4 men here. They've got some very talented biathletes with the likes of Jay Hakkinen and Jeremy Thiele.
Well, I couldn't get the real reason. There's a fall, as we expect sometimes, and there Wolf, I think, has gone very far to the left there. Hopefully he's not penalised or disqualified for that movement. But yeah, the Americans, they have the team here, but I think they don't want to have a poor result. So to take a result of, say, 15th at the World Championships back home, that's viewed as a negative for them. Mark Walker going very wide, good race line there to pass 4 or 5 teams on the uphill.
Yeah, well, I take your point, Mike, but is it not to save them for the individual events? It's been a really tough season. We've said that many times. But if you miss out on the relay, maybe you're in better condition for the mass start. And Jay Hakkinen certainly has qualified for that. I'm not sure whether Jeremy Thiele has. No, he's outside the top 30. So unless we get some withdrawals, Thiele won't race in that, but Hakkinen will.
Hakkinen, and there is a big point. If Jay Hakkinen can medal tomorrow in the mass start, it's not impossible. So possibly that was a factor in the reason or the Americans aren't racing today.
Okay, enough of that. Back to the race. Belarus leading at the moment. Good start from Alexander Simmon, the man from Minsk. He's the youngest in the Belarus team. They have the oldest team here in the squad, an average age of 32.5, with, of course, Drachev, who's 39, Rishenkov, who's 37. But Simmon, a relative youngster at 27, gets them underway. The Norwegians have started okay with Halvard Hannevold. He's taken the first leg, a man who you used to be able to rely on, and there he is in the lead. But Mike, his shooting has been a little bit suspect of late.
Very strange, especially Hannevold's prone. I mean, last year he was 92% reliable in his prone all the time, and this year he's down at 81%. I wonder if that's going through Hannevold's mind right now as he leads the field.
Well, just cast your eye over the positions. Nothing really separating the top teams. Britain down in 17th place at the moment, ahead of Kazakhstan and Japan. We didn't go through the Norwegian team. Hannevold we know about. Ekhoff takes the second leg. Hjelland the third. Bjorn Dahlen, not surprisingly, the fourth, as the Swede, that's... just trying to pick out who it is. David Ekholm making a slight navigational error there, getting caught up on the bollard. That's always the problem in these mass starts and relay events. But Mike, the noticeable absentees from the Norwegian team, Andersen and Berger, the two most exciting biathletes on the tour.
Two huge names in biathlon, and absolute brilliant ski speed, both of them. And it's a tough one to leave two great names like that out, but I think the coaching staff have to look at the reliability on the range, because that's where this race will be won or lost, squeezing the trigger.
Now, Bjorn Dahlen taking the last leg for Norway does give them a little bit of leeway. If they can stay within 30 seconds of the lead, then Bjorn Dahlen can probably close that in the first 2.5 kilometres. He's on such fantastic form. But you can't afford to put too much pressure on his shoulders.
No, not at all. We saw him outski anybody in the individual race by 2 minutes and 1 second. This is a different profile, a short race. It's hard for him to pull back a huge amount of time if he has to.
Now, if it comes down to a sprint finish in the closing stages, this is the hill that could decide the result. A big, big climb. We're on the backside of the stadium at the moment. That long climb that Mike pointed out on the course map earlier on, and then a fast descent back into the stadium. So we're only a minute or so away from the first shoot in this biathlon relay. Halvard Hannevold leading for Norway. France in second place with Julien Robert. Now, the French got the bronze at the Olympics. They got the bronze last year in Oberhof. They'll certainly be hoping to improve on that. And they've got a good squad, Mike. Robert, Defrin, Canard, and then, of course, Raphael Poiret. And it could all swing on Poiret's performance.
Indeed. But overall, as you say, the French team, their shooting results are all pretty good. When you look at the percentages, their hits are one of the best teams here today, and that's a huge factor. Just thinking, Hannevold leading there, it's been 37 years, 1967, since Norway last won in a World Championships relay. Of course, they took the Olympic gold, as you said, 3 years ago, but they have never won since 1967 at the World Championships.
And they've got a whole mass of silver medals in their pockets. Of course, they won the silver in Oberhof last year. It's been a good start for the Norwegians. Hannevold it is, leading the way into the stadium. That's the tunnel where Sandrine Bailly took a fall in the women's relay yesterday. We'll talk about that a little later on. The Germans, Mike, in second place. Alexander Wolf has had a good ski so far. He's in for Frank Luck, who, of course, was in the World Championship team that took gold 12 months ago. But it's his first race of these championships. It's only his second relay of the season. And what a position to be in.
Absolutely. He's looking relaxed. He looked very relaxed before the race, and you need to be. You can't carry too much tension especially into the shooting. You need to relax out there.
Hannevold for Norway, Wolf for Germany, Rojkov for Russia, Ekholm we saw for Sweden in lane 4, Mesetic for Austria lane 5, Derkach for Ukraine in lane 6, and then Julien Robert settled already for the French in lane number 7. First miss for Hannevold, perhaps pushing too hard. It's going okay for the Russians. 3 out of 3 for Rojkov, as expected, 4 out of 4 now, and he's the first to get all 5 down. Russia will go out. Belarus in second place. Good shooting from them. The Finns could get themselves up into the top. No, they've missed the last target. Austria go clear with 5 out of 5 from Mesetic. Norway 2 misses. Hannibal. Those are very expensive mistakes, but it's worse for Germany at the moment. And Alexander Wolf is in trouble. He's got 1 target and 1 round left. He must make sure of this. Norway still, eventually it goes down, so they're out of the range, but they've lost 15 seconds or so. The Czech Republic are out. Wolf throws his last shot wide, and Germany have the worst possible start. They are on the penalty loop, and it's a little bit of a deja vu. This is exactly what we had yesterday.
Well, that is unbelievable. Whenever have Germany started so badly? Wolf had a chance there to get the final target, but he was panicking so much he missed it.
7:50, the fastest time, and Russia come out in first place. Excellent shooting from Rojkov, showing his experience. The man from Murmansk, well, he was the best on his best form in San Sicario. Here he is. Look how good this shooting is. 9s and 10s right the way across. I'm not quite sure about that 4th shot, Mike, whether it split, hit the middle and then split, or whether it hit the side and then went into the middle. The first shoot completed in the men's 4 by 7.5, and the news is very good for the Russians, leading the way with Rojkov. Belarus going well in second place at the moment. Alexander Simon having a good ski, looks very settled. The Austrians up there in the front as well as the Italians. Norway just a little bit off the pace, behind Poland and Canada, who've had an excellent start. I think Robin Clegg is taking the first leg for the Canadians. Yes, that's correct. Norway, well, still waiting for them to come through. Halvard Hannibal having problems. They're down in 9th, 16 seconds behind. But the biggest news from the first shoot is the fact that Great Britain are leading Germany. Great Britain in 14th, Germany in 15th. Alexander Wolf missing 4 targets, 1 penalty loop. He's 52 seconds down.
That's a huge surprise for the German team. There he is, Alexander Wolf. I think he is pulling time back out there. Yes, he is. Look at the ski speed. He's pulled back 11 seconds. The pace at the sharp end, Rojkov isn't on great form, and everybody's lending Rojkov the respect of staying behind him, giving Alexander Wolf a chance to pull back, possibly back to 35 seconds. So it's not over for Germany, but a very, very poor start.
A very similar situation to the one we saw yesterday, with Uschi Diesel making mistakes on the prone. She skied like the wind on the second loop to get back in touch with the leaders, but then made even more mistakes on the standing, and I wonder whether that is going through Wolf's mind at the moment. Let's see where the shots went. He's already missed... There
you can see the miss, the white patch there. Missing way, way, way over to the right. Absolutely wild shot. The wind was coming from the left, which moves the bullet slightly to the right, but that was a huge miss.
I think marksman error probably the major reason for that, rather than a puff of wind.
Absolutely, like a snatch where your body reacts as the bullet is leaving the barrel almost, and it throws it very wide.
Up the big climb for the second time on this first leg. They're just about at the high point of the course right now, and Rojkov just controlling things at the front. Simon looking comfortable. Mesetic for Austria in third. An outstanding run for the Canadians, just overtaking Poland as we saw them. The Canadians wearing bib number 21. They have put their best first, so I think they'll fade away in the closing stages, but Clegg is up there in the first position for a reason, to give them exposure and to give himself experience of racing against the very best in the world, and so far he's acquitting himself very well indeed. The Czech Republic in 7th, I think they'll be happy with that. Thomas Holobet's going well. He looked good in the sprint. He got 15th position there with a clear shoot, so he's certainly got the talent, and if he can stay in touch. The Czechs have Schlesinger, who's been on pretty good form, 59th to 18th in the pursuit. Roman de Stael, who we know all about, won the individual, and then a big question mark over Zdenek Zitek, who takes the last leg. He was ill a couple of years ago, didn't race last year, and he hasn't really got back to the form we saw in 2000 and 2001.
No, he hasn't, but I think with the renewed belief that the Czech Republic team have, a victory in the 20-kilometre. That really can unite the team and think, well, my teammate has got a gold medal. We can all really charge through here and try and get a medal today at the World Champs.
Well, the Czechs have plenty of support in the crowd, but no one can quite match the support the Germans have got, but they're not around, so it'll be a little bit quiet for the first few rounds of the standing shooting. Russia going into lane 1, Belarus lane 2, Austria with Mesetić in lane 3. Big moment for him. The Austrians have come a bit unstuck with the standing shooting in the last couple of weeks. Let's hope Mesetić can just calm the nerves for this first standing shoot in the men's relay. Russia first to strike. Good shooting from Rojkov. Oh, absolutely no mistake at all. That is how to show them what to do. And Rojkov clears the 5. Now, Canada missing with Clegg. 2 targets remaining, 3 shots to clear those. Poland, mistakes coming thick and fast from them at the moment. The Norwegians, a chance to get back in touch with the leaders. Hannibal, 1 target remaining for Norway at the moment. The Czech Republic, Mike, 2 targets still standing.
2 spare rounds used. The Czech Republic sadly going to go on to the penalty loop. Wolf is in and he's going to shoot fast. He has to make up time.
He has to clear the 5 targets. Remember, 8 rounds of ammunition for the 5 targets, but it's not going Wolf's way. 2 misses already, and the rest of the quartet will not be happy with that. Oh, Rico Gross goes next, and then it's Fischer, and then it's Mickey Grice, who is on fantastic form. But can they make up for these mistakes? Now, Wolf has got to clear the remaining 2.
Well, you can feel the fear, the tension in Wolf as he missed his final shot of 5 and then onto the spares, shouting at himself.
1 target, 1 round. He clears them, avoids the penalty loop, and Frank Ulrich still not looking happy, but he's a lot happier than he would have been if Wolf had got to do another 150 extra meters on the penalty loop. He's avoided that, and you have to give him credit. That's not an easy situation to be in. 3 targets remaining, 3 rounds of ammunition left.
It's a terrible place to be. You have to make them count.
Russia, Belarus, Austria, Poland, the top 4 teams as they head out of the stadium. Canada, Ukraine, France in the top 7. Norway in 8th position, 46 seconds back. Hannibal missing 5 targets so far, but he has avoided the penalty loop. Estonia in 9th. Germany have moved up into 10th, 108 behind, and the Slovakians and Italians in 12th and 11th respectively. The Czech Republic, Mike, slipping away. They look so good after that prone, and I know you were happy to see them up in the top 3 or 4 positions, but they're now down in 13th position. 5 targets missed and 1 penalty loop skied.
Well, you didn't expect that from Holubitz, but that's the unique things that happen in a relay. You've got to be careful coming off the mat there. You've got to step off the mat, dropping ski poles. You have to be so careful and so organised with your drills and skills.
Belarus and Austria, the top 3 teams at the moment. Great run from the home nation in 3rd position, just 16 seconds down. Poland, Canada, Ukraine in 4, 5 and 6. Norway down in 7th. They've gained 1 place, 36 seconds behind, having a good fight with the French team who have made mistakes early on. But Rojkov of Russia has been quite outstanding. This is the form he showed in San Sicario, the pre-Olympic round of the World Cup, and that's the response he got from his fans.
Well, the joy, Rojkov is the only athlete who didn't need to use any of his 6 spare rounds. You have 3 spare rounds each time you come in for the lying and then the standing, and the only man to not use any of them. Belarus, Simon, used only 1 spare round.
Belarus, as we mentioned, a very good team nation. They got the bronze in 2003, they took the silver in 2001, and they were the world champions going back to 1999. They've got a very, very good history, but the age of their athletes would suggest that they're just about to become part of history. I can't believe the likes of Simon, Drachev in particular, and Roshenkov are going to go on too much longer.
No, I would imagine, and there's certainly talk of them retiring after the Olympics next year. Well, Drachev would be 40 years old then, and he's having a poor season by his standards, Drachev, but well, he'll be starting in about 2 minutes on his leg, the second leg for Belarus. Look at Austria though, 12 seconds behind. This is a great chance for them.
Norwegians looking good. Halvard Hannevold getting strong in the closing stages. Look at the speed that he goes up that hill. Absolutely destroyed Mesetic there. Really good technique. He changed the technique at exactly the right time. We often talk about V1 and V2, skate 1, skate 2. Being able to do the techniques is important, but knowing when to change is also vital.
Oh, you've got to read the terrain. Hannevold brought all his speed into the next climb, and that's why he easily passed Canada, and I think it was Austria, on that steep climb. But the Norwegians have got fast skis today, so that's another factor on his long glide down into this changeover. Hannevold will prove maybe another couple of seconds back.
The second leg runners getting ready now, and it's Nikolai Kruglov, the youngest member of the Russian team, who takes the second leg. This could be crucial for them. Kruglov has had a brilliant season, 5th, 4th and 35th in the races here in the championship so far. He gets underway. Belarus chasing just half a second down. It was a great finish from Simon of Belarus to catch Rojkov in the closing stages. Austria with going through in third. I think we mistook the Austrians there previously. Mike Hannevold can't have gone ahead of Mesetic because he's got quite a healthy lead. The Austrians still in third, 10 seconds down. Norway have made their way from 8th up into 4th, just 26.8. A good finish from Hannevold. Poland in 5th, Canada in 6th. Congratulations to Robin Clegg. That's an outstanding performance to come in just 30 seconds down on Rojkov, one of his best runs of the season. Ukraine in 7th. They've got a lot of work to do, but they've got quite a lot of strength in depth as well. Bilanenko, Korobienikov and Derizemli are taking legs 2, 3 and 4 for the Ukraine. And the French, Mike, who I suspect you've got on your list for a medal, down in 8th position.
Very surprised, Julien Robert. He's tired out there, suffering severely in skiing terms. Robert only used 1 spare round. Alexander Wolf has pulled time back. That really is significant for the German team. They are now only 57 seconds, so he skied his lungs out on that final 2.5 kilometres.
And Germany with perhaps the best relay athlete of all on their leg now, and it is Rico Gross who's out on the course, the bronze medalist in the individual. He's only missed 1 race this season. That's how consistent Rico Gross is, and on that occasion the whole German team pulled out of the relay. Russia, Belarus, Austria, the top 3 teams at the moment. Germany going through, just looking for news of the British team. They weren't going too badly, with Mark Walker on the first leg, down in 18th position now with 5 targets missed, but no penalty loops skied, 2:13 behind. So, Mike, in distance terms, they're about 900 metres down on the best.
Indeed, and that's partly through Mark's shooting. He had to use 5 of his 6 spare rounds, which has cost him probably 55 seconds to 1:10, and that's where you lose time in this race.
Now, just a reminder that the Austrians did get a victory here back in December 1999, the 2000 season as we knew it then. They came from, I think it was 3rd or 4th on the last leg to win ahead of Germany and Norway, and that was the occasion we were talking about yesterday where Fischer missed so many targets and threw away a 55 second lead on the very last shoot. So they'll believe they can do it, but this is a key leg for the Austrians. Friedrich Pinter on course now. He's only 55th in the World Cup standings. What has he got to do? What are his team orders?
His team orders are consistency. I imagine they know how important the shooting is. So Austria has to control his athletes into the range and say, look, calm down, just switch off the mind to the race and come in and shoot in a very relaxed state of mind. Look at Rico Gross. He's desperately trying to haul the seconds, in fact the 57 deficit that he wants to pull back.
Norway and Germany level now. Stian Eckhoff it is of Norway going through. In fact, my mistake. Rico Gross is chasing someone in something that looks very like a Norwegian suit. But Norway in 4th, 26 seconds down. Poland and Canada holding on at the moment. The Germans another 30 seconds back. I thought Rico had done great things, but not quite that good. It's France and Germany neck and neck. That's going to be an interesting battle. Rico Gross, the most consistent shot on the tour, 93% hit rate in the prone, 90% hit rate in the standing, up against Vincent Defrain, who's also been outstanding with the rifle, but his World Championships, Mike, 10th, 7th, 11th. He's got an 84% hit rate. He's dropping off a little. I think I'm just concerned that he's tired.
Paul, I think everybody's tired out here. This is, what, the 28th race since the 5th of December. And, of course, the 4th race in the last 8 days. So there is a lot of fatigue around. But Defrane, he can handle the pressure. We've seen it in the past. He's always been included in the French relay team over the last, what, 6, 7 years. Well-established member. Slightly worrying up the front, Patrick, for me. An interview with Valery Polkovsky, the Russian coach. There's Kruglov in second place. He said just 2 days ago that Kruglov, and I quote, isn't sure if he can handle the pressure in the relay. So he was considering whether to include him or exclude him in this race. So clearly Kruglov came to terms with the pressure. But I wonder how that will affect him when he gets to the range.
Well, we don't know quite yet, do we? Because the pressure really shows on the range. Kruglov's shooting record is absolutely brilliant this year, 91 and 90. And for someone of 23 to be achieving those levels, it's outstanding. As we said, the youngest member of the Russian team. And we've mentioned time and time again his pedigree, his father a former champion. And so he knows all about it. But it always amuses me that he was a ping pong player up until the age of 14 and a half, perhaps indicating that you don't need to start really tough training until you mature.
Well, that's a very good point, very valid point. Of course, his father, as you mentioned, former world champion, Olympic medal winner. So he did have a history of sport in his family, and he was out skiing from a young age, though not seriously until much later on.
48 seconds now, the margin for Germany to catch up. Rico Gross going very well. He is the best prone shot on the tour, so we don't expect to see him make mistakes. The conditions getting a little more tricky, though. You can see for yourself the telltales blowing considerably harder than when they zeroed their weapons 45 minutes before the start. And in they come for shoot number 2. It's blowing from left to right, but at a slight angle, so they've got to be aware of that as well. Belarus it is who are going to settle first. A good ski from Vladimir Trachev. It's not Trachev, they've changed their team.
Well, they haven't been formed. Let's try and find out who that is in second place for the Belarus, but he's doing very well.
Kruglov for Russia in lane 2. Austria settling in lane 3 with Friedrich Pinter. Good start for Kruglov. Excellent shooting from Belarus and the Russians. They've gone 5 out of 5, as you can see. Austria chasing now. Pinter, nice and calm. Good shooting. Keeps the home nation in contact.
Well, that was Alfred Eder, the great name in biathlon from Austria, former world champion. So it's good to have him on the end of the scope looking for you.
This is perhaps their only chance of taking a medal at these championships. Good shooting from Stian Eckhoff. Keeps the pressure of the Germans at bay for now. Poland still going well, despite the wind that's picking up. All the teams knocking down the targets. Defrane makes it clear. 5 out of 5 for him. Poland going clear as well. The Germans, a mistake from Rico Gross. Extraordinary stuff. 2 misses from Gross. And you can see the tension on his face.
Well, when you're playing catch-up, you have to take risks. And Rico really did push the pace on his 3rd, 4th and 5th shot. And he missed the 4th and the 5th.
So eventually number 5 goes down, but another 20 seconds thrown away from the leaders. A really scrappy show of drills there from Rico Gross, but that's what the pressure does. It's not going to be an easy job for him. His standing shooting was be good, but he now relies on great performances from Sven Fischer and Mickey Grice. But if you were a world coach and you were to pick the best team in the world, you'd probably include Fischer in your team, and Mickey Grice would be a close call.
He would indeed. He would certainly include Rico. Absolutely reliable, but that's what happens under pressure. You have to use 2 spare rounds in the prone.
Russia, Belarus, Austria surviving in the first 3 positions. Clear shoots from all of them on this first prone in the second leg. Go on this second leg, and they've got about 3 kilometers to ski in total. 3.8 Ks completed, and Belarus going through in first place. Russia have settled in second. No panic at the moment for Nikolai Kruglov. I think he'll be confident that he can outshoot the Belarus athlete. And incidentally, Mike's just popped out of the commentary box to find out who the Belarus team have put into leg number 2. Not a name or a face that we recognise, but we do know for sure that it is not Vladimir Drachev. And it's a very late change, and it must mean that Drachev is either injured or ill, because otherwise the change would not have been permitted.
No, you're allowed to change up to half an hour, or change the names, but he must have had a medical reason, and you have to get that certified from a doctor, so clearly it's above board, but doing well.
And who is it?
Just getting that right now.
Oh, well, we'll try and bring you that in just a couple of moments. Look at that, Norway just 17 seconds down now. The French have made a comeback as well, moving up into 5th place. Vincent Defrain doing exactly the job that he was put in for, but surprised to see Defrain on leg number 2, Mike. Do you think the French have said we can't afford to have our 2 weakest first because we want to be in touch when it comes to leg number 4?
Absolutely, that must be the strategy. They want to keep alive, they want to keep in this race and be in with the fast action. Really does help to drag you on when you're up there at the sharp end.
Good to see that the Austrians are still in it, and it's been some pretty hot shooting from Mesetic and Pinter. Just trying to find out what Pinter's record is in the standing shoot. Team's starting to spread out a little, but it's not very often that at this stage of a relay the front 4 teams separated by only 60 metres or so. Stian Ekhoff has been very solid. He's the man who's been called in instead of Berger and Andersen, and that's a really tough call for Roger Gruben, the Norwegian coach, Mike. Do you side with him, or do you think really Berger or Andersen should have had a chance?
It's such a tough decision to make, isn't it? They've got the extremely fast skier, and when you've got 3 spare rounds, you can risk someone whose percentages, reliability aren't quite as high. But we know that Ekhoff is reliable. We know that. Look at his technique, look at his speed. He's only, what, 15-20 seconds slower than the likes of Berger or Andersen. So I think it's a good call, and he's certainly putting it together well. 17 seconds behind at this point, still well in the hunt, well in the race.
Well, we found out that Pinter has got a 77% hit rate for the Austrians in the standing position, so they may be able to hold on to that 3rd place. Norway getting closer and closer by the metre. The French closing down another 10 seconds with some good skiing from Vincent Defrain. Let's hope that he hasn't overcooked it on this particular leg. Poland going well in 6th place at the moment. They're ranked 13th. Zimyanin took the first leg. We know all about him, but Bodziana, who's on this 2nd leg, Mike, we've not seen a lot of him this season.
No, so a little bit of an unknown quantity there, but still holding well. 47 seconds behind, but can he hold the pressure? And it really is all about pressure, this race. Belarus coach Nelson looking on, looking slightly concerned, but they really have put it together well so far, the Belarus.
Well, Bodziana, the Polish athlete, just to let you know, 23 years old, from Duzhniki, and this is his 2nd Senior World Championships. 2 men at the front, Belarus versus Russia. First miss for Kruglov, and a chance for Belarus to move ahead. So 5 out of 5 for them, and that's some very good shooting, but Kruglov isn't going to let them get away, and now he can turn on his superior ski speed, having controlled it on the leg there. Now the Austrians going clear, 5 out of 5. Pinter has been quite exceptional. He's kept the Austrians in with a chance of medaling. That's what they're after. Rotman and Suman taking legs 3 and 4 for them. The Norwegians can breathe a sigh of relief. Ekhoff has gone clear. The French are still in with a chance, as Defrain has 1 target remaining. He's already used 1 spare round, but the wind is picking up now as Germany settle for their 4th shot of this championship relay, and Rico Gross has got some time to make up.
Oh, you just would not expect Rico to miss his first shot. Took a long time getting into position.
He rushed the 3rd one, Mike. He's panicking. Rico Gross is definitely panicking. This is not the sort of form we saw from him at the World Championships last year. 3 out of 5. Frank Ulrich getting more miserable by the second.
But what a pity for Germany.
You can just see the stress on his face, Mike. Normally, he's so relaxed.
One round left, one target to hit for Germany.
Belarus already out of the stadium, and it's another penalty loop for the Germans. It goes from bad to worse for them, and their chance of taking gold, I think, has pretty much gone. But they made a phenomenal comeback in the women's relay yesterday to take the silver medal. But 2 penalty loops and a gold medal, I don't think so, and I think Frank Ulrich knows it.
Well, he sees the writing on the wall. Who could ever have predicted Rico Gross, the best shot in the world, 90% hit rate normally in standing, and he's on the penalty loop.
Belarus, Russia, Austria remaining the top 3, changing order time and again, but the Norwegians at just 19 seconds off the mark. Now here's the man that we haven't been able to name up to date, but Hofhilzen, already the tension starting to build up in the area of Hofhilzen. We're just up the road from the Alpine resort of Fieberbrunn, not so far from Kitzbühel. It will take you about an hour to drive there, just over the hour to get to Salzburg airport, just to the south, of course, of what is known as Bavaria. It is an absolutely stunning area, and as you can see, there is no shortage of the white stuff. Metre upon metre of snow falling in the last 3 weeks. It's an ideal situation for a long, long season. And, well, hopefully this championships, and in particular this relay and tomorrow's mass start, will attract many, many thousands down into this area. That, of course, is what the organisers are after, and they certainly deserve it. They've put a huge effort into getting these championships underway. It's been good news so far for Austria today, Mike. Can they hold on to their top position? They're in 4th at the moment. They've just dropped down behind the Norwegians, but still Russia and Belarus. And incidentally, we think the mystery athlete is Novikov, who's dyed his hair. That's what's catching us out, but we're still waiting for confirmation on that. But we do believe it is Sergei Novikov on the course at the moment. Here's Rico Gross. What's the damage? 1 penalty loop skied in the first leg, another one skied by Rico Gross just recently, and he's 143 down. It's going to have to be Fischer's best ever performance, and I think Mickey Grice is going to have to match whatever Fischer can do.
It's not impossible for them to pull 1 minute 43 seconds back, but look at Kruglov. Absolutely blazing up that hill. He felt that it was going to be difficult for him to control himself in this race, but he's put it together brilliantly. Only 1 spare round.
Interesting to see that he used the other athletes in the first 2 legs to try and take it easy. He wasn't concerned about extending the lead by 10-15 metres, and he saved everything for this last loop. And look at that, he's blown 14 seconds out of Norway, 15 seconds out of Belarus. It's been an excellent performance by Kruglov, who said he didn't have the nerve for this occasion. Right, finally we can confirm that the mystery athlete is Sergei Novikov. So well done, Mike, for picking up the fact that he's had the hair dye out.
It's the hair dye that completely threw me. Of course, Novikov, so it was a medical. They had to have, obviously, Drachev not well this morning, and that's the only way you can change an athlete.
Has to be said, he looks a lot younger on it.
And Valiulin next, and Rostovtsev, there we are for Russia. Team 2, well, the nerves must be churning in his stomach. Look at Kruglov, what a ski speed in the final, 2.5 kilometres.
In he comes to hand over to Pavel Rostovtsev on the 3rd and all-important leg for Russia. The man from Krasnoyarsk, where 2 of the Russian team come from, Pilieva and Shona Usova. They all live in that area, train together. Pilieva has already taken gold in the women's relay. Will Rostovtsev add a gold in the men's? Away go Norway in 2nd place. They've gradually been gaining ground, just 14 seconds off the Russians now, and remember that Norway had Bjorndalen to take the last leg. Belarus have dropped from 2nd to 3rd, but don't rule them out quite yet. They've got Valiulin on this leg, and then Oleg Rishenkov, who's a very reliable athlete indeed, on the anchor leg. Away go Austria. Please don't let them finish in 4th. That would be very cruel fate. But you'd still have to take your hats off, because it's been an outstanding performance so far from Mesetic and Pinter. Wolfgang Rottmann is on the course now. Mike, I think in, 15 minutes' time, when he comes in for his standing shoot, the whole of the north of Austria are going to hold their breath.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. But I think, and we've seen it over the past, as soon as you give Rottmann 3 spare rounds, so he's got his 5 shots, he's got his 5 targets to hit, but the psychology of having 3 extra chances, he does shoot a lot better in the the relay. And let's hope he does do that for Austria today.
Italy going through in 6th position, the Ukraine in 7th. It's now Korobienikov on course for the Ukraine. The French have Feriol-Canard taking the 3rd leg. Sven Fischer waiting patiently for Rico Gross. Another glance over his shoulder, but he's not there yet. He's still got a few seconds to go. 1:43 was the last count for the Germans being behind. And I think the disappointment of the shooting has knocked it out of Rico. He's lost even more time to Russia, Norway and Belarus at the front of this field. This is a performance that Rico will not want to remember for long. Sven Fischer has the ability to make up this sort of margin. He's got to reverse his fortunes of 1999 where he lost the lead. But it doesn't look good for Germany at the moment. Sweden coming through, a team that has won a relay this year already, but they have suffered badly in the range as well. They go through in 9th position. And the Canadians, who were up in the top 4 after the first leg with a great performance from Robin Clegg, now down in 10th. Poles, well, they put their best first as well, and they're starting to fade out of the picture, as are the Czech Republic, Mike, down in 12th. They've missed 11 shots in all and have skied 1 penalty loop.
Absolutely, but they do have Dostal now, the gold medalist from the 20 kilometre for the Czechs. He's just started his race. Now, how's Rostovtsev skiing? Wasn't in great form in the 20 kilometre in terms of skiing, but very reliable when it comes to shooting.
86 and 76% hit rate for Rostovtsev, and you can see the margin for yourself. It's not substantial by any means, and he's going to be settling on the mat. He'll probably be just ready to let that first round go when Norway and Belarus come and settle alongside him. That could be a major factor, Mike, and we often see that first shot going wide.
Absolutely. You hear the other athletes breathing, you feel their presence beside you, and you really have to cut all that stimuli, cut everything out of your mind except what you're doing, how you set up your position, and the focus on the target.
Austria and France could be locked in a good duel in the closing stages of this one. Rottmann, a very good skier, but he's skied hard in these championships and trying to make up for missed targets. And I wonder how much he's got left to give in this 7,500 metre run.
Well, this is the big climb, the beginning of the big climb. Well, in fact, they've been climbing from just as Austria come into the picture there. And it's a huge climb out here.
Egil Kjelland looking very comfortable in 2nd place, skiing just ahead of Ruslan Valjulin. Now, Kjelland, pretty much the most stable of the Norwegian competitors. He's from Voss, just inland from Bergen, an area that's produced 1 or 2 top biathletes in its time. Indeed. And I know you're good friends with a number of them, Mike.
Yes, some big names. Kvalfoss, the big name throughout the 80s and I suppose early 90s. In fact, the 70s, 80s and 90s. Kvalfoss, Olympic gold medalists. And they still have a very good club structure in Voss.
But Kvalfoss never managed to take a World Championship relay gold.
That's true, absolutely. And, well, no Norwegian has for, what did we say, 37 years, 1967. It's a long time, and today could be their day. 14 seconds behind Russia right now. But that can change. And it can change so quickly in a relay. Look at Rico Gross was coming in there, slowly making his way forward, 40 seconds behind. And through missing 1 target, penalty loop, and now Germany are way down, almost 2 minutes behind.
Norway have gained 6 seconds on Russia over the first 1.8 kilometres. It's good news if it's a straight skiing race. It's a little bit of a concern if it's a biathlon and you're coming in for the prone shoot. Let's hope that Kjelland isn't going too fast. And for Valjulin, the same applies. It looks as though Rostovtsev is cruising, Mike, but we haven't been able to bank on his usual steady form simply because he suffered such a horrendous injury in the summer.
What a comeback, though, isn't it? You know, end of April last year, and he had a terrible break, his left leg, and how he's come back so quickly, I don't know. He got all the best physio in the recovery phase, but he's back, and he's back very strong.
Well, physio does so much, but really it's the amount of work that the athlete is prepared to put in, and putting it in at the right time. If you push it too hard, then you can go backwards. But Rostovtsev obviously getting some good advice, and he's looking comfortable, but when you miss out on months and months of training, you just can't hold the top form for as long. So I think they've cultured in to be on good form at these championships, and at the moment it's looking good for them. And the Russians have got to hope that Sergei Chepikov, the colonel, is back on form, because he takes the last leg for them. He'll be up against Oleina Bjorndalen. That's a battle that no one will look forward to. Now, here comes Rostovtsev. When he was winning World Championships golds, he was the best shot. Not a good start, an opportunity for Hieland, who's taking his time. Thrown one wide as well. Belarus with a slight advantage now.
Valiulin putting it together well, one shot to go.
Russia and Belarus clear their 5 at almost exactly the same time. Norway are going to find themselves 15 seconds or so behind, provided Hieland gets this one down, and he does, and he's up and very quickly out of the stadium. Austria now start to rattle through the targets. This is important for Rotman, an excellent prone marksman. And he's got them down. He's lost a position to France, but Ada won't worry about that. It's all a question of clearing the targets at the first attempt. He looks very, very calm at the moment, but I can tell you that in 10 minutes' time, he is going to be the most nervous man in the stadium when Rotman comes in to shoot in the standing position. Wind conditions not easy for the next 2 teams to settle.
That could be bad news for this man. The wind, look at it, picking up from the left.
But Mike, look at the time that Fischer has managed to achieve. They were...
Well, they were nearly 2 minutes behind at the last changeover.
1:49 at the last changeover. And if he gets them all down, he'll have closed the gap by 30 seconds. He is giving it absolutely everything to get Germany back up into the top 3. Ukraine struggling with that last target. It's as if someone's put some super glue on it to keep it up. The Italians get 5 down, so this is one of their better performances of the season so far. Do you think someone's been tampering with the German sights?
Well, isn't it unbelievable? Who could have predicted? Oh, and there's problems. Without gloves on, it is easier to feed those small bullets, those small rounds into the chamber. Oh. It's very difficult to relax when you're trying to catch up.
Surely not a loop for Fischer. Fischer avoids it on this occasion, but it was a messy, messy shoot. Not the sort of thing we expect from him. And it goes, it continues to get worse for Frank here. That move themselves up into striking distance of being the most successful nation, because Germany are having a disaster. We'll just run down the positions. Germany in 9th position, 2:05 behind with some more bad shooting. No sign of the British team through the range as yet after the first prone on the 3rd leg. But it's Russia, Belarus and Norway in the medal positions, just 10 seconds separating those top 3 teams. Great Britain, in fact, in 19th place, still haven't skied a penalty loop, but 8 targets have gone missing so far, and they're over 4 minutes behind, so effectively 1,300 metres behind the leaders.
Yep, they've got Tom Clemens in last place, so it could move them up a little bit. And Jacko, Lee, Steve, Jackson.
The British main rivals here, Mike, which teams do they set out trying to beat?
Well, they set out to try and beat Canada, Switzerland, Estonia, and of course the Kazakhstan team. And there is still a chance to move forward, as we see with many of the teams throughout the race. You can fluctuate by 3 or 4, even 5, 6 positions, and you can pull places back, so let's hope they can do that.
Well, the Canadians putting their best first, so there's still a chance that they could catch them, but Robin Clegg had such an outstanding leg that he's put the Canadians a long way ahead of the Brits at the moment. There you see the top 5, the French still in with a chance, but they're starting to lose a little bit of ground. The pace is picking up at the front of this field, and that is always a good sign for the coach in one way, but as we remind you time and time again, if you ski too fast into this range here, you are going to pay the price, and it remains to be seen which one of the leading teams is going to make a mistake first. So far, Belarus, Russia and Norway have only missed 10 shots between them. Normally, they'd all be missing 10 by this stage. Belarus, only one missed target out of the, 25 shots that have been fired. Russia 2, Norway 7, but Norway the quickest skiers, and they've got the world's best going last, so they can afford maybe one more mistake here. Belarus settling first. Ruslan Valiulin, the 28-year-old, on lane 1. Russia will take lane 2. Norway will take lane 3.
Valiulin gasping for air, trying to get some recovery to assist his balance, going for the middle shot first, unusual.
Haven't seen that for a few years.
Trying to take the pressure off himself.
Going from the extreme right to the extreme left. It's an unusual format, but as you say, trying to break the routine, take away the pressure. What brilliant shooting from Rostovtsev. We expect nothing less. Well, a few years ago we did. This year we don't know what we're going to get, but he's gone 5 with 5. Russia go back into the lead, and Norway with Egil Hjelland get 5 as well. They're in contention. They go from bronze up into silver, and Belarus losing a little bit of ground, but Valiulin gets it down. He's still in the chase. Mike, he skied exceptionally hard on that last loop. What can he do to stay in touch now?
Well, he has to try and pull back the time to get his teammate Rashenkov in a well-placed position. Look at Rotman.
Rotman going well. Brilliant. Well done, Rotman. He missed 5 out of 5 in the standing earlier in these championships, and everyone was painfully aware of that. But he's only on to his first round of spares, and he's got it down at the first attempt. So 5 out of 6, and Ada, I think, inside him, will be absolutely delighted, giving nothing away at this stage. Still one leg to go, and it's Christoph Suman who is going to take that. A man who's fairly fresh. He's only done one race at these championships. That was the individual where he finished 42nd. But Suman's a reasonable shot. 86 in the prone, 70-odd, 75-odd in the standing. So a medal is still a possibility, but I think the Austrians are now hoping that the pressure at the front of this field, with the leading 3 teams so tightly packed, that is going to get to one of them.
Well, it's still 5 teams, as you say. Austria only 44 seconds behind. Any one of these 5 teams could take the gold here, and it is down to the nerve, the stability of the shooting.
Well, they've got a couple of kilometres to go, just under 2 kilometres to go before the final exchange. We'll catch up on what's going on the range. Germany with Sven Fischer. He gets 5 out of 5. That will save some of the embarrassment, and he's cut the margin from 2 minutes 05. Fischer is going to be under 150 certainly, but they with Rotman there, he is so powerful, and today he has also cleared the target, so it's been one of his better runs. It's that sort of performance that won him the world title back in Oslo back in 2001. Rotman has shown exactly what he's capable of, and he has given Austria a chance of taking a medal. Christoph Suman is the man who's got to do the work of catching the leading 3 teams. The Russians, Mike, I think will be happy with the way things have gone. They still only missed 2 targets out of 30 shots. That's absolutely brilliant marksmanship from them. And well, we were a little worried about the nerves of Krugloff, but he overshadowed that. Rostovtsev we didn't know much about because he hasn't been on the tour much this season. He's gone brilliantly well, and now it's going to be down to Sergei Chepikov, the 39-year-old who takes the last leg for Russia.
Look at this, Belarus, Valiulin is having a fantastic performance skiing. He's passed the Norwegian, and he's charging on. You just expect him to pass Rostovtsev very shortly, if there's enough space between now and the handover. I'm not quite sure if he can.
Now they're pulling away from Hjelland there, Mike, Belarus and Russia. And I'm just wondering, what is Bjorn Dahlin going to do? Halfway through the season, he changed his tactics. He started skiing a little slower on the first leg and then getting faster and faster, copying the example of Sven Fischer. Now he's in a position where he's going to have to chase. Can he control himself and just say, ski the first 2 loops easy, and I can take 20 seconds off anyone on the last loop? Or do you think he'll lose that control here?
I think he will just set off from the starting blocks on an absolute mission to pull back time. and it's not going to be much time, so he's going to try and destroy the rest of the field. If we remember back to the Olympics, 98 in Japan, he had a phenomenal distance to make up, 1 minute 50, and he charged through the field into second place, so Bjorn Dahlin can really make it happen.
Talk about charging, Rotman is on a mission as well, and he's gone very well indeed. He's just 33 seconds down. He's taken 8 seconds off the French with Canard over the last 800 metres. He's gaining a second every 100 metres. That is the class of this man, and the Austrians know that this is their only chance of taking medals away from their own championships. Belarus in top spot at the moment, and taking the final leg for them is Oleg Rishenkov. Now, Belarus finished 4th in the World Championships last year. They're in a very good position to take the gold this time. They go away first. Russia in second place with Sergei Chepikov, and then the great Ole Einar Bjorn Dahlin on leg number 3. He's won 10 races this season out of the 15 that he's entered. He is the class act on this final leg,
and he is going to set the pace. Bjorn Dahlin is in fact really going flat out, trying to pull back only the 5 seconds deficit, but he'll soon be at the front, I'm quite sure.
Congratulations to Rotman, Wolfgang Rotman, who's just completed his effort. He's got Austria.
Pull time back and get his medal, whatever colour it may be. Poland still in the competition, in the hunt, in 7th place, and Sven Fischer has pulled back to 1 minute 36. In fact, less than that. 1:33, 1:34.
Now, there goes Bjorn Dahlin. It is just beautiful to watch how he makes it look so easy. Look at the length of glide that he gets on each stride. He's perfectly balanced. The poise is just superb. Such strength in the core areas, Mike, the abdominal region of the body, to hold the middle of the body firm, and that's why his technique is so efficient.
But it's hard to explain the pain, I suppose you'd call it, through your legs when you're pushing at absolute maximum. You're using your arm muscles as well, all the muscles in your body getting used here. It's a complete body workout, but at absolute maximum pace.
Christoph Suman of Austria has visual contact with that leading 3 group. That's a very important factor. Bjorn Dahlin comes down round that tricky little corner, dances his way round, and well, Belarus getting round even better. Rishenkov negotiating that beautifully easily and picking up speed.
With the completely different styles of skiing, although Rishenkov is desperately trying to match stride for stride, and it seems to be working.
Is he doing the right thing, though?
Well, it's putting him, what, 2-3% over what he'd normally take himself to in the physical terms. But he has to get that gold medal today. He has to try and hold on to the skis of Ole Einar Bjorn Dahlin.
What is that skiing doing to the Austrians? They were 31 seconds down at the last split time, and Christoph Suman going well enough, 32.6. He's lost just a little bit, but he's still in touch. That's only a question of two missed targets. So if Suman goes clear and one of the leading teams misses 2, they will be back on terms with the bronze medal position. It looks as though Chepikov, Mike, is struggling a little. He is trying to stay with the group. I don't think it's a tactical thing of holding back.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I agree. He's pushing so hard, but I think in his mind, Chepikov has got such amazing maturity. Of course, almost 20 years on the World Cup tour. I think he's just trying to hold himself back a little bit, so that he's not overstressed going into the range. Look at this climb. It's such a tough and steep climb.
Well, this has finally proved too much for Rishenkov, and he's let a gap of 7-8 metres open up between himself and Bjorn Dahlin. Now Chepikov comes back into his own, looks to be closing ground on Belarus and that silver medal position. Austria and France are through that last checkpoint. Austria, we know, 32. France, 50 seconds down. Still a chance for them to get another bronze, which they got in the Olympics and last year in the World Championships, and the Austrians will believe they still have a chance as well. The Germans, incidentally, have pulled themselves back up into 6th position. It's been a disastrous day for them. 16 misses in all, 2 penalty loops, so an extra 300 metres, but they're only 1 minute 35 seconds behind the leaders, and they're only, what, 1:25 off a bronze medal, so that's not out of the question quite yet.
Well, Chepikov is pushing his limits. What a pace. I was looking at all the coaches, just observing Bjorn Dahlin going up there. He double danced it. He's the only or skate to'd it, and it takes so much power and technique to do that. All the coaches were almost laughing, saying, how could that man do that? How is he so strong? Nobody else can do that up this hill.
Skate 1 and Skate 2, I know a number of our viewers wanting it explained. This is an example of Skate 1 by Suman of Austria. Generally, you have one pole movement for a complete cycle of legs. And in the Skate 2 that we're looking at now, you have 2 pole movements for one cycle of the legs.
Ole Einar's shooting coach, Jor Himle, just in awe as well, I think, of the ski speed of Ole Einar Bjørndalen.
The gap has grown from 10 to 20 to 30. He's now almost 40 meters clear of the rest, but he could throw that all away if he were to miss targets. It's been a brilliant season for Ole Einar Bjørndalen. Surely he's not going to let himself down now in what many Norwegians regard as the most important race of the year. 36 years without a World Championship victory in the relay.
It's sheer brilliance.
Speechless, absolutely speechless. Bjørndalen back to his best, and he has put some pressure on Russia and Belarus, both who miss at almost exactly the same time. 2 targets left for the Russians, in fact 1 apiece now for Chepikov and Vali Ulin. Vali Ulin it is who goes out in silver medal position. Can the Austrians move up into bronze with Christoph Suman settling? The wind has picked up, blowing hard from left to right now.
2 spare rounds for Chepikov, unusual, but as you say, look at the flags. The wind is pushing those rounds to the right.
Needs this one. Congratulations to Suman, he's still in touch, and now the pressure switches from Austria back to the French, and Ada affords himself a smile for the first time. He knows now, whatever happens, his team have done him very proud indeed. This is an outstanding performance by the Austrian team, who at the beginning of this we wouldn't have ranked in the top 6 or 7, but it's been a brilliant performance. Poiré, as always, the 5 go down, and he has now got to chase down the Austrians before he can think about taking a medal.
Well, look at him heading out here on the next 2.5 kilometres. Poiré is on a mission to pull that time back, and it's certainly not impossible.
So 16 seconds between first and second. Norway leading, Belarus in second. They are 13 seconds ahead of the Russians. In third, the Austrians, and now just 11 seconds down off a medal position. And here we see the Germans with Mickey Grice. If only Gross and Fischer could have done the same, it would have been a very different story. It's too late. Frank Ulrich knows it.
Just thinking of Frank Ulrich, the last time the World Championships were held here on these tracks, 1978, Ulrich was in the East German team then, and they won the relay. And so was the Austrian coach, Klaus Siebert. He's German, and he was in the East German relay team that day. So 2 of the coaches were winners here in 1978.
So just 30 seconds separating the top teams here, with just 1 shoot to go in the men's relay. Just a reminder of the situation in Oberhof. 33 seconds separated the top 3 teams in that relay, so this looks like being even closer. Belarus were 36 behind in 4th position. The Russians finished 5th last year, 49 seconds down. But on this occasion, the reigning world champions are struggling. They're back in 6th position. Germany with Mickey Grice on the course. He's gone well, but the remainder of the team letting him down. It all went badly with Wolf. Gross got worse. Fischer wasn't up to par. And now Mickey Grice has been left an almighty task to try and get back in touch with those leading 3 teams, but I don't think it's going to happen. Bjørndalen 16 seconds ahead when he came out of the range. 3.8 kilometres completed now. He's got another 1.2 before he shoots again, and most of that's uphill.
Well, look at the time. Look, he's destroying it makes the rest of the field look like amateurs. They're not. They're full-time professionals, and they are very, very good. Just makes you realise how good Bjørndalen is.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to take one last break. 2 rounds, Mike. He can't afford a penalty loop as yet, but if he can get 35 seconds clear, maybe then it's a possibility to have one penalty loop and still be in the running to win it.
Quite possible his strategy is there to destroy the field, and as you say, allow himself that, if you like, relaxation coming into the range, knowing that he can actually make some mistakes. I don't think he will, but at least he's allowing himself that possibility.
He started this leg in 3rd position. He's gone through to 1st, and he's opened up a gap of 24 seconds. It's still only 2 misses, really. Otherwise, Ryschenkov will pounce. And Ryschenkov has skied this middle loop very well indeed. Chepikov coming back onto the heels of Belarus. 35 seconds off the lead, but he's only 11 seconds down off silver medal position. But what about Austria? 45, and Suman has kept himself in touch. It's all going to come down to the final standing shoot. It's a question of nerve now, and who has got it in them to clear those 5 targets. Bjorn Dahlen's the only one with a little bit of leeway. The rest have just got to pray.
The rest have to try and do what they do every day in training and just come into this range as if it is a training day, but it's not. It's the World Championships, and your last man for your quartet of 4, and the pressure is huge. Absolutely enormous pressure.
The moment of truth coming up for the Norwegians. Can they put to bed that 36-year drought of World Championship relay wins? They are the Olympic champions. That was a big moment for them. They could add the world title to that achievement now. No one else has an answer. Not only is he the quickest skier out on the course by a huge margin, he is the best shot this season in these sort of circumstances. That is brilliant. Bjorn Dahlen has wrapped it up. Now we're into the race for silver and bronze. Will it be Belarus, Russia, or can the Austrians get their first medal of the championships? Mistakes coming from Belarus. Ryschenkov is starting to struggle. Chepikov cool and calm at the moment. And Suman taking his time.
Ryschenkov. Two rounds left, 2 targets to hit. He's on the penalty loop. Belarus, what a disaster for the Belarus.
Suman, just 2 targets to go. He's certainly got a chance. The Russians are away and look to be taking silver. A mistake from Austria gives Raphael Poré a chance of coming up for the bronze medal, because Poré must be quicker than Suman, despite the fact that he's off form. But an early mistake from Poré goes wide, and Suman is off the course. He's chasing Belarus, who are on the penalty loop, and it could be the bronze medal for Austria. What a scenario. You couldn't have scripted it better. They have been quite outstanding today. Mesetic, Pinter, Rotman and Suman. And, well, I've lost a lot of money on this one, but I don't mind at all. Austria have been a delight to watch. Russia and Norway leading them. Belarus now in 4th place. That's cruel fate, Mike. They've been so good right the way through. That very final shoot proving their undoing.
Well, it's the final shoot we're talking about. The pressure you carry, your whole team responsibility was on Ryschenkov, and what a pity. But he has 11 seconds to catch Austria if he wants to get bronze medal. So Belarus and Ryschenkov will be out there going his absolute hardest. I've noticed that Bjorn Dahlen coaches are saying, look, you have such a huge lead, you have 41 seconds.
Take it easy.
Save yourself a little bit for tomorrow's mass start. But he won't. Bjorn Dahlen will go out there and probably push his hardest.
He's already taken 2 golds in the sprint and the pursuit. The individual race, not really worth talking about. He finished in 6th place. You know, by his standards, that's poor. But he's made it gold number 3, and he could match his Olympic achievements where he took 4 golds in Salt Lake City. Still the mass starts to come tomorrow. But racing last, I guess he's got less rest than everyone else. But on this sort of form, no one's going to touch him tomorrow.
Well, it certainly doesn't look like it. Although tomorrow's another day, it's 15 kilometres, everyone's starting together. Just noticing there, Austria, the athlete behind him was Ilmar Breaches, who's been lapped. The Latvians are, well, behind by, what, 7 or 8 minutes to date.
I do apologise that we haven't updated you on some of the teams lower down the order. The site has crashed. We'll update you after the first shoot on leg 4. Poland were in 7th, Sweden 8th, Italy 9, Ukraine 10, Czech Republic in 11, Mike, quite a long way down. And then, well, the Japanese not bad at having a bad run. They're in 13th place.
Japanese are. Finland 12th.
But 13 misses in all, but the Czech Republic beat that. 17 misses and 2 penalty loops for the Czech Republic, a team that could possibly have put in a good run. They had a very, very classy quartet, but their shooting has let them down today. A nervous glance over the shoulder from Christoph Suman just to check that the bronze medal is safe. Norway are through the last checkpoint at 6.4, 1,100 meters to go for Bjorn Dahlen. He's 36 seconds clear of Russia, and Sergei Chepikov adding to his tally, his second silver medal of the championships. And what is he, 38, 39, coming on 39, an outstanding performance. Many of our viewers asking how long can he keep going? Well, at this rate, he'll still be here in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It was Tikhonov who asked Chepikov to come back to the World Cup biathlon 3 years ago, and well, he's still winning medals now. It's quite amazing.
Well, just a reminder that Chepikov took the gold in the relay, the Olympic relay, in 1988. He took the gold in the World Championship relay in 1989. And here he is in 2005, not only taking the silver, but taking the anchor leg as the strongest man in the Russian team in 2005. How about that for a long career in what is regarded as the toughest event in the world?
Absolutely, it's physical, you're shooting, you're using all skills and all the muscles in your body, and the training is so hard. You have to train hard throughout the whole summer in order to take the punishment of these steep climbs and the levels that you have to push in biathlon.
A lot of people ask why cross-country skiing, Nordic skiing should be the toughest. One of the reasons is the fact that you do have to use so many muscle groups to develop the speed, and therefore your heart, you know, you've only got one heart, but it's not only providing the legs as a runner's does, but it's the legs, the abdomen, the back, the arms, the upper body, the lats, every single muscle group. And above all that, you've got to balance on a very thin pair of skis. And that generally is why, physiologically, it is the toughest of sports. Now, Norway are through and safe. Is Bjorn Dahlen easing up? He was 36 seconds clear at the last count. Russia still in second place with Chepikov. Through he goes. He's closing the gap slightly, 31 seconds now. But he's got to keep the pressure on because he's got the Austrians chasing hard. And behind the Austrians, we've got the French and the Belarus team who are now fairly locked in combat for that fourth position. Austria go through. 48 seconds down. He's run out of time. He's only got 500 meters. He won't be able to close the 17 seconds on Chepikov, but it doesn't matter. They have got themselves a medal, and that really was their aim. Fourth and fifth position not decided quite yet. Austria, Belarus go through in fourth, 104 down, Mike.
Oh, I really feel for the Belarus team. They held it together for so long, but just failed on the last stand shoot.
But it's Norway, after a disappointing run in the women's relay. They take the gold today. Hannebold, Eckhoff, Hjelland and Bjorn Dahlen, the Olympic champions, are now finally the world champions. And what an outstanding performance it was. Their shooting has never been better. Will Berger and Anderson ever get in the relay team again?
It does make you wonder. You need the consistency and the reliability to cope with pressure and to hit these targets. And the Russians, they're the best team, only used 5 spare rounds. Well done, Chepikov. Well done, Russia.
Well, the Russians are a very much stronger team than they produced in Oberhof. They've taken the silver today, but the medal of the day goes to Austria, and you can see the delight on Christoph Suman's face. He can hardly believe it. Mesetic did a great job on leg 1. Friedrich Pinter, the outsider, 55th in the World Cup standings. He was the key to the success of the Austrian team. Rottmann shot so much better than he has done all week to clear all the standing targets. And then Christoph Suman pounced when the Belarus team made a mistake. Poor Belarus. Well, it was a great effort. Simon Drachev, it wasn't in fact Drachev, it was Novikov, Valiulin, and then Oleg Grashenkov is the man who's got to answer the critics. But you can't really fault them. They put in one of their best runs of the season, but that one penalty loop in the last leg costing them their chance of a medal.
Absolutely. There's Lars Berger congratulating his teammates. He must be feeling a little sad he's not in the quartet today, but
he's got some gold to go home with from the Nordic World Championships. He's been off form since then. I think he must have picked up a bug in Oberstdorf. He didn't get the full-scale flu, but certainly he is not his normal self. Belarus in fourth, as we've seen. The French, the bronze medalists from last year, have to settle for fifth today. It went wrong on the third leg. A good performance from Raphael Poré, but he needed to be at his very, very best to threaten. Germany, well, a disaster. Absolute disaster for them. Wolf made mistakes. Gross made mistakes. Fischer made mistakes. Mickey Grice held it together, but it was all too late by that stage. The race of the championships.
What a race that was, absolutely. It has everything in the race. There's sadness at the end now. Rashenkov is still on the ground. He's been lying down for, the last couple of minutes. They're destroyed, devastated to not take a medal after doing so well for most of the race.
Well, there's the man that brought Norway home in gold medal position once again, proving so reliable with the gun. Certainly getting a personal shooting coach has paid off 100-fold for Ole Einar Bjorndalen, but don't forget the rest of the team. Hannavold, Eckhoff and Hieland were brilliant to give Bjorndalen a chance. He took off in third position at the end of the third leg, but it was only a matter of 100 metres before he was pulling away from the remainder of the teams. The Swedes, victors in Oberhof earlier this year. They believed they could medal, but it hasn't happened for them today. 3:12 off the pace of the leaders. An excellent performance by the Polish team. Siemianin Bodziana Sikora took the third leg, a man who finished in fifth in the individual race. And they finally finished in eighth. 3:31 off the lead, 9 shots, in fact 10 shots missed, 1 penalty loop skied for them. The top 5 teams, Mike, the only 5 to avoid the penalty loop.
Yes, the shooting today overall not great, but the wind was a factor, and of course the pressure on these races. There's the wind, the flags blowing around there. Italy, 9th place. Although only 3:58 behind, they can work on that for next year, the Olympics on their home soil.
Well, it really has been the year for Norway in relay terms. They've entered 5. They've won 4 now, and the only one they didn't get the win in was one they were disqualified in, so it couldn't really have gone much better for them. Joy for the Austrians. And I think, finally, the press will get behind these championships. Let's hope that they get more than a few column inches in tomorrow's papers, because the quartet of Mesetic, Pinter, Rotman, and here Suman have done themselves proud today.
Didn't they do well putting it together? And, in fact, the best shooting team was Austria. Who could have predicted that?